Hey, good morning, Southern Colorado. Welcome to Pros on Call. Paul Scheidler with you. 7:01 in the AM right here on the FM, and that would be Cruisin Oldies, 101.3 FM. Thanks for tuning in and spending some time with us right here. And hey, man, winter came back to visit us again. How do you like that? Weather's brought to you by the Mortgage Doctor, Steve Haney of Provident Lending. Give him a call today wherever you're at in Colorado. He's got the right prescription for your financial ills. 719-266-5500. That's 719-266-5500. Online, mymortgageguysteve.com. And we're looking at only a high of about 39 here in Colorado Springs today. Down in the Steel City, you're only going to be hitting about 42. Now, this is going to clear off here, and it's a little sketchy this morning. I'm going to tell you that right now. I went from one side of town to the other, west to east, and on the west side of town, got a couple inches of snow over there, and roads are a little slick in a lot of areas. You get towards the middle of town, it really kind of clears up, and it's not bad, and it's just wet. Come out east, yeah, it gets really slick. So you need to slow it down. Give yourself a little bit of extra time and give yourself a little extra room between you and the car in front of you, and make it safe. But this weekend, we are looking pretty good. So you got that going for you, which is nice. We're going to get going, and we got some great stuff for you here today. And we're going to start out with some interesting things, because we hear about this a lot, and we hear about this place got broke into, this place got hacked into, and things like that. And, you know, we kind of live in a state of blissful ignorance, if you will, where we say, well, that won't happen to me, and I'm too small, and they're not going to be looking for me. Well, maybe not. And we've got the man with the plan, the man with the answers, and we've got Rodney with Firma IT Solutions. I got a little bit backwards there. Good to see you in the studio there, Rodney.
Morning, Paul. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, and I'm glad you guys got here safely.
Yes, me too.
So just to talk a little bit before we get going on your topics, I just want folks to know about Firma IT Solutions, who you are. You deal just with businesses, so I want people to understand that. So people that are listening right now, they need to understand that if they own a business or if they work at a business, this is very, very important stuff for them.
Yes, it is. It's very important for them. A lot of businesses don't understand that it's a necessary investment, just like you get business insurance and everything else you need for your business. Investing in your cybersecurity and managed IT solutions is very important, because I find out a lot of times these businesses don't know what they don't know. And I brought my friend here today, Amy Tyndale,
Hi,
with CB Insurance. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Awesome.
Good.
Colorado Springs, Amy is with CB Insurance, and one of the things that they have expertise in is cyber liability insurance. You want to tell them a little bit about what that is?
Sure. Let me just introduce CB Insurance also, if you don't mind. So, CB Insurance is an affiliate of Central Bancorp downtown on the corner of Colorado and Nevada. And CB Insurance, through different mergers and acquisitions, has been around since 1890. So we've had relationships in Colorado Springs for over 100 years. And so we work with middle market companies. We work with companies with many employees, and in all different industries, though we do specialize in quite a few different industries. And this is where we find cyber liability to be especially helpful. And so cyber liability, first and foremost, there's no standardization of cyber liability coverage, like there is maybe a typical business owner's policy or a policy for, vehicles or fleet vehicles for healthcare or for aging services industry, things like that. So that's first and foremost. If you're looking to be insured with a cyber liability policy, the insured really needs to read the policy. They really need to know that their broker is an advocate for them as well. And so CB Insurance is a broker. We have access to many, many different carriers, hundreds of carriers, but we really work on building the relationship with those carriers, because we view our role and responsibility as an advocate for our clients.
Right.
And so when we go out to the marketplace, we are looking at several different carriers for maybe one product, and we can negotiate with those carriers, but we're very coverage centric. And so, for instance, if there's a client or a prospect that comes to us and says, "Hey, please quote me and see if you can get me the best price," we're going to have a different conversation. We're going to lead around what are the coverages, and we really want to know what types of exposures do our clients really have, because the coverage should match the exposures.
Sure.
Is what it should do. And so a good broker is going to ask you questions about what your exposures are. Cyber liability covers many different exposures. It's not standardized, and so your broker really needs to understand who are they going to for the coverage, which carriers, what types of insuring agreements do those carriers have. And then they also need to know, is this a carrier that will allow the insured to pick and choose based on their exposures? So a carrier could have 10 different insuring agreements covering different pieces, and the client can say, well, that's not an exposure that I have, so I don't really want to pay for that one.
So they can buy basically kind of a la carte
They can, yeah.
to fit that business's
Correct.
needs.
Correct.
You know, I know that Rodney could attest to this, and I'm sure you can, Amy, that there's a lot of businesses out there that say, well, geez, I don't need that, I'm too small. Rodney and I have talked about that before. What's your take on that?
I would actually have to disagree and just let them know that.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with
That's
you.
right.
Definitely. But I think it's probably been said on this program. I know we talk about small businesses being small, low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
And if Rodney, you can probably talk to this much, much better than I can because I just read an article about it, but you probably know more in depth. But Target, when it was hacked.
Right.
Target was hacked because an HVAC company was infiltrated through the email. They were social engineering an email. The email came from the HVAC company into Target, and somebody at Target opened it. Notice the hacker didn't go to Target because Target's big enough to have all of those systems in place.
Right.
But the HVAC company, not necessarily.
Oh.
Yes.
Kind of, they created their own back door.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and I just heard today, as far as that goes, that, and this is probably with individuals, but it could be with businesses too, that the hackers are looking for inactive PayPal accounts, and they're going in and they're taking over those PayPal accounts that have been inactive for some time and reactivating them under their own, and changing security questions and things so people can't get in. And then the next thing you know, people are finding there's money missing out of their bank accounts.
Sure.
I better deactivate mine pronto.
But Rodney talks about this. These people stay up late at night trying to figure this out, and there's no question about this, that there are other countries that sanction this and actually have people that the government pays in order just to sit there and hack all day long for various reasons.
I mean, you have those exposures, but we also have a lot of homegrown hacker criminal.
Yeah,
types.
well, we got enough homegrown crooks. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and one of the things Amy was talking about with the Target situation, how the vector was the email.
Mhm.
So I see all the time businesses that run their businesses off free email accounts, like Gmail accounts
Yeah.
and Yahoo accounts and MSN accounts. I mean, geez, I've even seen ones that run them off AOL accounts.
Yeah.
And a lot of these those free systems are not as secure as the other ones. So you'll have a business that may have all their IT ducks in a row, but they write one of their clients who has a Yahoo account. I mean, at any given time there may be countless people that have access to each and every Yahoo account that's out there right now. So if you're running a business that deals with people's personal information, or I send you something and you open it in your Yahoo, I must have at least 50 other people looking at that same email I just sent you. So then they write me back from your account, but it's not your account. Yeah. So that's where the whole encrypted email piece comes into play.
Now,
Protect that traffic.
quick question on that. I had always been told if you get an email that has if I don't know why I'm getting this or was expecting this, and it's tough for a business. I'm a smaller one, so I won't open it. I won't until I verify it. Hey, did you mean to send me this? But as far as for anything that has a link in it, hey, I thought you'd be interested in this. Hovering over that link, I had learned sometime back to see what the URL is, to see if it's something that was spoofed, true or false, that people should be doing that, and does that help?
It does help. Vigilance is definitely something that people should have when they're looking at their emails. check the email address. There's a lot of people that use Microsoft Outlook. So you see the name of the person that is sending you the message, and you look at the body of the message and it seems legit, but if you actually check the email address attached to that name at the top, it may be something totally different than what it should be. So it's always a real big indicator there. The email piece, there's a lot of cybersecurity things that you can do on your network, software you can put on your computer, devices that you can put on your network that'll look for malicious emails, and it'll actually protect you if you happen to click on one of those things. But I encourage everybody in the sound of my voice, like, just check the emails.
Right.
If there's an email that's asking you to do something with money, like wire money or send money, I mean, just listen to me now. Don't send the money. Pick up the phone and call whoever's requesting this money from you.
Right.
Because I've spoken to a few companies here late in the last couple of weeks that have fallen for that at least 2 times.
Really?
Within a year, yeah. And it's their employees. I mean, the companies are big,
right?
So they don't have eyes on all their employees,
right?
But just the cybersecurity awareness type training things are stuff that maybe they should send their employees to, so they know those risks.
Well, not all that long ago, there was a story about some folks that were buying a home, and I forget whether they were paying cash for it or just a large down payment, and they received a email from the title company, and it was spoofed.
Yes.
And so somehow they got in and they knew about this, and they said, "Oh, hey, by the way, we changed the routing number. Please forward that to this account." And so the folks thought it was legit, and they did, and it wasn't legit. And all of a sudden, their money's gone. They'll never see that again.
Yeah, I mean, title companies and real estate companies are definitely having issues with the whole interception of emails and the wire fraud thing. Encrypted emails are a way to cut down on that, and a lot of these transactions are happening over web portals, so that all the communication is behind an encrypted session. So those are really 2 good ways to cut down on it. If you're not doing one of those 2 things, then you're going to be exposed to that wire fraud issue every single time.
And Amy, I'm going to bring this up. What types of things would a business be liable for if they were hacked into? And let's just say, for an example, that they're a smaller business. Let's say that maybe they employ 25, 30 people or something like that. So they're thinking, well, I'm not that big, and stuff. And like Rodney and I talk about, I've got that Avast software on there.
Free stuff.
Yeah, it works really good. Avast mateys, no hackers here. What the types of things that they could be liable for if they get hacked into and get their customer information stolen? And let's just say that they've got things on file like customers' credit cards and sensitive information. Rodney and I talked about this before. With real estate, especially with mortgage lenders, tax season right now. What could they be? Yeah. What could they be What could they be liable for?
Well, you really named a lot of what they're liable for. If you look at the medical industry, anything in healthcare that has all of that personally identifiable information, all those medical records, which is what hackers want. They want that information to be able to go out then. Not necessarily they can sell the information, but they can also use that information then to go and get treatment. They can sell the information so people can go get prescriptions. They can use all of that type of stuff. Now then, with the healthcare industry, you have all of those HIPAA regulations.
Correct.
You have all of the fines that come along with that. And so when you look at your cyber liability program, or when you're looking at which one is best for your exposures again, it's, okay, does this carrier cover regulatory fines? Does this carrier cover getting handling the PR? We've got maybe a hospital. These hospitals that have been hacked, you better believe they should have some really good coverage in their cyber liability policy that helps with the PR to get their reputation back. That's a coverage in some of these policies.
Wow, that's great, because you got to get the spin going on right away.
Yes.
And folks, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about cybersecurity here, and we've got Rodney with Firma IT Solutions, and I want to throw out something special for you, and I'm going to give you the number, 719-377 6603, and that's 719-377-6603 for Firma IT Solutions. And Rodney, right now people listening, they can give you a call and they can actually get a free cybersecurity analysis on their business system.
That's correct. They sure can. Just give us a call and we will schedule an appointment to come by and do a nice analysis of your system to see where you're vulnerable and give you a way forward.
And folks, there's no cost, no obligation to this. There's no arm twisting available, and you just need to call. Protect yourself, protect your business, protect your customers by giving Firma IT Solutions a call right now. Leave a message. 719-377-6603, 377-6603. And if you work at a business and you're on your way in there, you can be the hero of the day by telling your IT person, the head of your IT department or your boss about this and saying, hey, I heard this on the radio. It's absolutely free. I think we ought to look into it and just have them come out and look. And Amy, how do they get in touch with you to learn more about the cybersecurity insurance?
Absolutely. We are at centralbancorp.com, and that's central, BANCORP.com, and you can go to //insurance. You can look at all of our information there. My phone number is 719-477-4259. And again, that's 719-477-4259.
Boy, she's like a pro, Rodney. She
I know
says
she
her.
is.
Yeah,
I brought her on the show.
know. I mean, she just says her phone number twice, and I'm like going, well, I was going to say it, and it's like, hey, I'm going to take a break for a while. You guys have a good time. Well, let's get back into this because, again, the threats are out there, Rodney, and you come across this all the time. What are some of the most common things that you found in businesses that they were completely, just oblivious about?
So, I scared to death. I feel so bad sometimes. How I scare some of these folks. So I was in a medical clinic here in town. Quite a few computers, a lot of medical records on site. When you talk about fines, HIPAA has like gross negligence type of things that they talk about. These could be up to $50,000 per record.
Whoa.
Or $250,000 in prison time. For willfully neglecting. So if I come see you and I tell you that you are incredibly vulnerable with all these people's information and you choose to do nothing about it,
then you're opening yourself up to possible prison time.
Yes. You're going to be in trouble for that. Because people will dig, they'll have subpoenas, they'll go through your email and they'll see where I wrote you and told you that you're in jeopardy and to do something about it. That's not a threat to have to come do services with me.
Right.
But you need to do something about it. We have a lot of really good companies around town that do what I do and what my company does. Call someone, shop around. I'm fine with shopping around. That's what we're here for. But do something about it.
Well, and that comes down to that living in blissful ignorance.
Yes.
Nothing's happened to me yet, so it's a wonderful day. But
hope is not a cybersecurity policy. It's not, and there's a lot of businesses running off of that. So back to that medical place. And this is my plea to Comcast. Comcast, I've called you out a few times. I'm just letting you know, please, when you are setting up your Comcast business class internet for your clients, please have your technicians take 5 extra minutes and change the password on the cable modem. Please change the password on the cable modem. I've been in this medical facility and I had the ladies like, look, I brought up the cable modem login page and I was like, I'm not going to ask you what your username and password is, but if I guess it, this is a very big problem. And
you did.
I guess, of course. I mean, everybody knows it. You can Google it. So if I know it, a lot of the bad actors on the internet know it. And that's the kind of low-hanging fruit that's out there. If you have a device after your cable modem that protects the rest of your network, that device is still visible from that cable modem. So I can run attacks against it. And the attacks can be very imaginative. All the way from extracting information to actually shutting down your entire network and keeping you off the internet. So if you're one of those cloud-based businesses that have to have internet connectivity in order to work, shut all that down.
I
the
think,
default username
I
and
think
password.
most businesses have to have that these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm lost without the internet. I think we all are. We're all connected. I want to delve a little bit deeper into that for just a minute because you talked about this before, and we didn't expand upon this, and I wasn't completely sure about what you were talking about. And so let's address that out there because here in Colorado Springs, there's not too many choices. You get CenturyLink or you get Comcast, Xfinity, whatever the case may be. They kind of got a locked game. But for the folks that are out there, you had talked about this with a username and password on your modem. And when you had talked about this, when I had gotten that installed on my side, at my house for my personal, but it's for my business also, I do have a username and password on there that pretty tough to figure out. It's pretty weird. But the fact is that I'm thinking that is just at the point of my computer and my router and my wireless, because I don't think that I ever did anything with the modem itself.
If it's you bought the router from like a store or something?
Well, I mean, it's actually, I should back up. It's all together now. It's in the, their box, if you will. Right.
Sure.
So what I've got is basically a username password for the Wi-Fi, for the WPA, and where it goes to my television and things like that. And that's what I thought. Yes. Maybe you could explain to folks about that there's two separate things we're talking about here.
Yes. So you have your wireless password, which should be something fairly complex if you're trying to protect things behind that network, but your actual cable modem itself has a username and password to go into the configuration of it. So you can actually see a list of all the computers that are connected to your network through it. You can open yourself up back doors into the network so you can come in later. You can go in and change the username and password so I can actually lock you out of your cable modem. And you can call Comcast and they'll reset it for you. But if you don't access that modem, which most people don't, you don't know if somebody's in there looking at your stuff. And if you got the default username and password on it, your risk is really, really high. And what's interesting about what Amy does, when you look at the different cyber liability coverages from a lot of these other providers, the company that she represents, CB Insurance, they have a really wide array of things that they cover. Like she was talking about the PR part and paying the fines. If somebody gets breached, what other kind of stuff do you folks have to give them?
Well, it would be dependent on who we go out to the marketplace to quote them with. One thing I wanted to address before I get into that also is when we were talking about emails coming in.
Yes.
So that social engineering piece. They're coming in and they're asking, somebody to wire some money.
Yeah.
They wire the money, they're out that money. We've had claims like that in the past. A lot of that is also covered with crime insurance, which is on. Well, it's also an a la carte type of coverage. But what insureds need to be careful of is that they have a broker that is really educating them on what coverages are for what type of exposures. Because it came in through an email and they transferred the money fraudulently while they thought they were transferring it in the right. We had a claim where a large company here in the Springs, they had studied how the CFO and the COO communicate with each other. CFO actually gets an email from COO and says, hey, I'm looking at this piece of art, please wire $80,000. Totally normal.
Sure.
CFO transfers the money, it's gone. Next day, another email comes through, hey, found another piece of art, please transfer $55,000. Bank catches it. Finds out that did not actually come from the COO. Neither one of them did.
Neither of them?
Neither one of them did.
So it was like you were saying, they were monitoring the activity to try to mimic it.
Correct. And that actually became a claim off of the funds transfer fraud coverage on a crime policy. So you have to be really careful. You can't put everything in a box and say, oh, this is all.
Right, you're covered.
Yes, exactly. You may not be.
It depends on the nature of your business.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
And that's where you sit down and talk with folks, really kind of get to understand their business, what they do, and make suggestions for the things that they would give that would cover them for all of these aspects.
Correct. What we really pride ourselves on doing is making sure that we understand the coverages. We're a very technically focused, coverage-centric brokerage agency, because how can you educate your clients on their exposures if you don't know?
Yeah.
So a lot of the other cyber liability coverages, if there's also possibly a reward expense coverage limit, and that means you have information. You might have information.
Rodney does.
Yeah, on some of these on some of these perpetrators, and if you actually, this one actually says this is money paid by the insured to an informant. So if you have an insured and they're an informant, they can get that money back. That's impressive. There's privacy notification. So a lot of this is, how do you help those clients that have had all of their credit cards stolen, all of their identity stolen?
Control.
Yes, correct. There's cyber liability, third-party coverage. Wife of the husband who's lost everything comes back and sues the company. So you've got all of these different types of coverages that are possible.
They're gonna sue you.
Ransomware. The forensics, somebody to come in and diagnose how did they get in the first place and how do we get our system back online. That's all typically covered. And so again, it just depends on the policy and it depends on what you purchased.
Well, now I'm going to put you on the hot seat for just a second, but this is going to be an easy one to answer. Actually, is that there are folks out there, and especially the smaller businesses that say, this all sounds great and I get it, I understand the importance, but my gosh, I'm just running on the ragged edge here. I can't afford that. Affordability?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it depends. It really depends.
That's why I'm saying I'm putting you on the hot seat, but you have the correct answer on that. And people, as we're talking about, they can structure it for just the bare minimum. At least you got something. Maybe you don't have the whole enchilada, but at least you got the good filling for it. But also, on the other hand, as Rodney was talking about, they have to stop and think about it. It's like they could be out of business if they don't have this. So what does it cost and what's the value and do you need it? Well, you're going to have to weigh that on your own, but if it'll wipe out your business and you're done, I'd say that your insurance is pretty inexpensive.
It's very compared to that. The other thing that we talk about too is, okay, what's the number one exposure you think you have? What's the immediate exposure? And then let's quote everything else so that you can start adding it to your budget. Because if you don't have any idea how much it's going to cost you, you have no idea how to start planning for this.
True.
It's like budgeting anything in your personal budget as well. So we start with, we like to quote the whole shebang because it doesn't cost anything to quote it. But if you at least know what you're getting into, you can start planning for it and maybe purchase something
in the immediate.
Correct. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest, if you don't mind if I just insert something else here that's been on my mind, but isn't on a lot of my clients' minds, is everything's cloud-based now.
Yep.
And so why would I need this if everything is in my cloud? And I think we have, from my perspective, we have a perfect person to answer that question.
Yes.
So Rodney, if you can address that.
I mean, a lot of people think that they're safe and they don't need a lot of security on their computer systems or network because they work in the cloud. The thing is, if there's a cyber attacker, like the example I gave with the modem or whatever, if I can control your computer system that you use to access the cloud, I own your cloud now. And I will walk in with your credentials, your username and password that you typed in, and it'll look like you're logged in. And I'll stay in there and I'll do it for a long time.
Yep.
And if you don't have any, if you're trying to take care of your own stuff, you got your office manager doing your IT and all that, and you don't have the cyber liability insurance, you're going to be on the hook for that. And it's crazy the accounting firms that are in tax season that I see with this issue, the medical practices, the small businesses that I see with this issue. Really should not sleep on this, should do something about it.
And folks, this is easy. You can do this today. That is free for the cybersecurity analysis from Rodney and his staff at Firma IT Solutions. You can get in touch with them and schedule that at 719-377-6603. That's 377-6603 for Firma IT Solutions. And do that now. Do it today. Let your IT director know, or your boss, and be the hero there. And then again, Amy getting in touch with you, learning more about the insurance and what they can get right now and the affordability. How do they do that?
They can call me at 719-477-4259.
And that number again?
719-477-4259.
I'm just messing with you. You know what? I can't thank you both enough for being here, and it's always so interesting to have Rodney on the show, and he brings great folks like you, really giving a lot of information out there to the folks here in Southern Colorado, and letting them know that this is serious business, but there's serious people out there to help protect that business, and that's just you guys right here.
Yes.
So thanks for being here, and I got to have you back again soon.
Yes, we'll
Thank
be back
you.
soon.
Okay.
Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Amy.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be up with our next guest. So I want you to keep it right here on Cruisin Oldies 101.3 FM. We got a lot of stuff going on. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're out.
All right. That was fun.
That was
One
great.
bites the dust, man.
Shakes, that went fast.
Hey, man. Got content for days, brother.
I